Okay, so I said I would talk about validation using try and catch. So where did this come from? This was part of the homework, wasn't it? Type check. Okay, college enters each student's date of birth into the college database. Write a very short program that asks for the user to input a date of birth. Use the try catch statement to ensure that the data entered is a valid date. Input as a string, then convert to a date using CDate. Now, I should point out that try catch is a Visual Basic and C# term. Try catch in Python, it would be try except. And CDate, again, this is Visual Basic based, so CDate is convert to date in Visual Basic. You don't do that in Python, so something else is needed for Python. All right, let's have a look at, first of all, what the try except is all about. Let's stick with Python. So if I want to get the age of, get user input for an age, then I might say input, please enter your age, and convert that to an int because the age is a number, and maybe I want to do something with a number, do some processing of some description, but I will just actually print out your age is, and then the age. So run that. Your age is whatever, 20, and there's your age. However, what happens if I put an age of XY? Get a runtime error because Python is converting a string XY into an integer, and that cannot be done by Python. So it throws what's called an exception or a runtime error and tells you that you cannot convert a literal XY to an integer base 10. Okay, so now how can we handle that more gracefully? So what we can do, I'll just get rid of this print, so what we can do is something called a try. We'll try this statement, and if it throws a runtime error, we'll run the exception handling part of this statement here. So I'll say print age needs to be numeric. Now run this and let's see what happens if I type an age of XY. Age needs to be numeric. So there was no runtime error. We caught the runtime error, and Python then executed the except branch of this statement here. If I just type in a valid age, there we go, 20. Then no message, okay, because it doesn't go through this branch. And I can then, if I want to say, let's get a valid age, then I could say, create my Boolean variable there to use for my validation and have a while valid equals false. Try, so I'll just indent these so now they're within my validation loop there. And if I now try this and I get to the next statement without a runtime error being thrown, then a valid age was presumably thrown, was rather input, and I can now print out the age. Okay, so valid equals false is a bit nicer to write not valid. This, as this is a Boolean, we can say not. So in other words, valid, while valid is false, or equals false, same thing as saying while not valid. And it reads a bit more like English that way. Okay, so entering an age, XY. Age needs to be numeric, and so it's gone into this branch here, not run the valid equals true, and therefore valid is still false. So we stay within the while loop because this keeps running while valid, the valid variable is not true. Okay, please enter your age. In fact, why don't I put a breakpoint just there and go back to my console window. So while my age is XY, go up here and you can see what's going to happen. So, okay, actually, this is the next time. So enter an age of XY, return, and you can see it's jumped down to the except branch here and not executed the valid equals true. So step again. Now it's printed out, age needs to be numeric. And now if I do it again and put in a valid age, 20, now you can see this exception hasn't been thrown and we move to valid equals true. And this test, while not valid, will resolve to false, and so we come out because valid is now true. And we can display an age. Not sure what's happened there. I'm going to just run it again. XX and then 20. Your age is 20. So that's a way that we can ensure that we're getting the right data type. I've not done a range check here to check that it's a reasonable age, but you can see here how we can use the try except to ensure that we've got an integer here output, and we can loop round requesting that. Okay, but the actual question asks for a date. So a little bit of Googling. So converting string into a date, time, or date, we actually need to use a date time library of functions here. And so this date time library will, we can use that to give us date time objects to work with. So let's have a go at that. So let's get someone's date of birth rather than their age. I'll just be a bit not lazy exactly, but so date time, I'll just call this the date of birth, and this is a string representation of time. So actually what we'll do is get the date of birth, let's see, so all right, let's get this right. So in my loop I'm going to get a date of birth, and I'm going to say input, please enter your date of birth in DDMMYY format. Okay, and then so we get the date of birth, and we will, what will we do? We'll get this string actually, and then we'll convert it using this. So actually what I'm doing is I'm passing in a string into this string representation of time, and we're going to get it in, oops, %y. So this takes this string, date of birth, based on this format that you're going to be typing in the day, month and year with slashes between the day and month, and then we'll be putting it in this date time object. I'll call it date time date of birth. Okay. Apologies, my video randomly stopped recording there, so I've jumped just a little from where we were. So I've used this datetime library and got my variable here, which I'm going to use for validation, and have my while loop here. Getting the string here, this isn't in the try except block because this won't give me any sort of runtime error. The user can type in any old thing, it's not going to give me an error. I'll get a string here, but then what I want to put in the try part of this try except block is the conversion from the string date of birth into this datetime object. And then if that conversion fails, it will jump down here, output the error message, birth needs to be in date, month, year format, and we'll loop back. We'll go to the top again and iterate through the next step because valid is still false. Okay. If the user puts in a valid date of birth, then in this try block, this try part, this will succeed. Valid will be set true. The except isn't run. So we go to the end of this statement, back to the top, and now valid is true. So this bit fails and the while loop ends. And then we have your year of birth is, and we can, as we have this date time object, we can use, we can access various different methods like get the year of, so this is just a function effectively, which will return the year of this, of the date of birth object, this date time object. Okay, so we have this same sort of thing as we had with the age, but we're using a date of birth and we're checking that the formatting is correct. If I click start and you can see here, enter your date of birth. So I'll just put in some rubbish and this conversion has failed. So DTDOB will have nothing in it, and it's jumped down to the exception, printed out the fact that the date of birth needs to be in DDMMYY format, and gone back up here and requested the date of birth again. So I can put that in, which is still an incorrect format. But if I now put in a correct format, it has got through to the valid equals true. This part isn't run. Back up here, and now valid is true, and therefore while not valid results false, and we drop out and print your year of birth is the year part of the date of birth. Okay, so I think that gives you a look at the try except, using the try except to get the correct formatted or correct type of input from the user.